I lost my first husband when our children Calla, 24-year-old female, and Hawthorne, 26-year-old male, were 6 and 8 years old. I remarried 4 years later. I met my husband a year after losing my late husband. We were friends for several months, dated some, stronger feelings developed, and I introduced him to the kids to see how they would get along. We halted for a year while my kids and I did some therapy because their reaction to my husband was strongly negative because they didn't want to replace their dad. But once therapy was ongoing, they were doing better. From there, things moved faster, but the kids were on board for things to move on. They were clear, however, that my husband was not going to be filling the role of a dad in their lives. My husband said he was fine with that as long as he was respected and they could work toward being a caring family. Calla and I were always close, but she was a real daddy's girl. Losing her dad was extremely tough for her. She did form a nice relationship with my husband, but it comes nowhere close to the bond she had with her dad. From the age of 12, she and I became much closer. I think my parenting style as well as my willingness to talk about her dad even after I remarried made me someone she felt she could be open with. She was 15 when she told me if she ever got married she would want me to walk her down the aisle and for us to do a mother-daughter dance instead of a father-daughter one. I told her we could dance to the song her dad used to sing to her. She said she loved the idea. Even though she seemed to mean it, I always assumed things would change when she got older. I figured she would choose to walk alone, with her brother as a representation of her dad and their close relationship, as well as for the societal expectation for a man to do it, or with her husband. But when she got engaged 3 weeks ago, she asked me right away. She brought up our past conversation and told me she wanted exactly that. I told her I would be honored. We cried tears of joy together. I told her that her dad would be so proud. My husband took the news in a way I did not expect. His first question was whether I suggested she ask us both to do it, and I told him no. Then he asked if she ever considered asking him, and I said I could not answer that for her. He asked me if I thought of him when I said yes. He asked whether I gave any thought to all he has done for Calla, for both kids, and the fact he's still not looked upon as a fatherly figure all these years later. I told him I did not think of him when asked because I was overjoyed. He told me I should have given him a lot more consideration and I should have tried to compromise with my daughter. I thought he would change his stance, but now 3 weeks on and he feels I was wrong. He told me he felt he deserved more from all of us, but especially me. He said I am his wife. I should be working on making sure he is respected and honored for his contribution to the kids' lives. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, he deserves. He expects respect and honor for the role he has played. No, parents, step-parents. The work you put in to raise and keep your children alive does not earn you a place in their life. I can't handle it with these step-parents who believe if they play the role long enough they'll be accepted as a replacement parent and then resenting the child when it does not play out how they had hoped. Comment 2. All he has done for Calla, for both kids, and the fact he's still not looked upon as a fatherly figure all these years later. I should be working on making sure he is respected and honored for his contribution to the kids' lives. Ignoring everything else about his entitlement and total assholery, you should ask him, why are you more worthy of respect and honor in Calla's life than me? Does he think you don't deserve these honors? Sexist traditions, blah blah? Not the idiot. This is a ridiculously happy and exciting time for you and your daughter, and your husband is making it all about himself. Now, for the update. 3 months have passed since my daughter Calla got engaged and asked me to walk her down the aisle. The tension that arose from that moment with my husband hasn't eased. In fact, it's gotten more complicated. Calla's wedding planning has been in full swing. She's been picking out dresses, tasting cakes, and deciding on decorations. She's been including me in every step, which has been a wonderful bonding experience. However, my husband has been feeling more and more left out. He's tried to get involved, offering to help with the budget and suggesting venues, but Calla has been polite yet distant, thanking him but not taking him up on his offers. Hawthorne has been supportive of Calla's decisions, including the one about me walking her down the aisle. He's been busy with his own life, but makes time to check in on the wedding plans and offer his sister support. He's tried to stay neutral regarding the tension between me and my husband, but I can tell it's wearing on him. My husband's feelings of being unappreciated have only grown. He's brought up the topic multiple times, each conversation more heated than the last. He feels that after all these years, he's earned a place of honor in our children's lives, and he can't understand why that's not being recognized. I've tried to explain to him that Calla's choice isn't about him, that it's about honoring her late father and our bond, but he sees it as a personal slight. He started to pull away from family activities, declining to join us for dinners and staying late at work. It's like he's building a wall between himself and the rest of us. Calla has noticed the change in my husband's behavior. She's asked me if she did something wrong, if her decision hurt him. I've reassured her that it's not her fault, that her stepfather is just struggling with his feelings. But I can see the guilt in her eyes and it breaks my heart. The wedding planning has also brought up a lot of emotions for me. I found myself missing my late husband more than ever. I've caught myself staring at old photos and reminiscing about our time together. It's a bittersweet feeling, being so happy for Calla, but also feeling the absence of her dad. My husband and I have had some serious talks. I've suggested couples therapy, but he's resistant. He says he doesn't need a therapist to tell him that he's being overlooked by his own family. I've tried to be patient, to give him space to work through his feelings, but it's taking a toll on our marriage. The other day, things came to a head when my husband asked Calla directly if she would consider including him in the ceremony in some way. Calla was taken aback. She didn't want to hurt his feelings, but she also didn't want to change her plans. She told him she would think about it, but I could tell she was upset. After that conversation, my husband and I had a fight. He accused me of turning the kids against him, of not doing enough to integrate him into the family. I was shocked. I've always tried to make him feel welcome, to encourage a relationship between him and the kids, but he just doesn't see it. Now, with the wedding getting closer, I'm worried about how this will all play out. Calla is stressed, Hawthorne is caught in the middle, and my husband is more distant than ever. I'm trying to keep everything together, to be there for my daughter and to save my marriage, but it feels like I'm failing at both. I'm not sure what the future holds. The wedding is supposed to be a happy occasion, but right now it feels like it's just highlighting the fractures in our family. I'm holding on to hope that we can resolve these issues, but right now, the emotional turmoil is overwhelming. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Have you considered a compromise where your husband could have a different special role in the wedding? It's important to honour Calla's wishes, but maybe there's a way to include him that feels right for everyone. Communication is key here, and perhaps a family meeting could help smooth things over. Comment 2. I went through something similar when my mom remarried. It's tough blending families, especially with big events like weddings. My stepdad felt left out, but we found ways to involve him that didn't step on our traditions. It's a delicate balance, but it's possible with some creativity and understanding. Now, for the next story. The background could go on forever, but the simplified version is, my mum and dad had me, 16-year-old male, and when I was 6, my mum was expecting another baby, my little brother. She was 7 months into her pregnancy when she started to feel sick and went to the hospital. Some tests were carried out and it turned out my dad had been cheating on her, and he passed along some sexually transmitted diseases to her during her pregnancy. I remember my mum losing her composure on dad when she got home, and I remember how devastated and scared she was. My brother was stillborn not long after, and my mum never left the hospital. She bled heavily after the delivery. My mum kicked dad out the day she found out. My dad's family, his parents, 3 siblings, and 2 sisters-in-law were disgusted with him. When I was 10 years old, my dad met and married his now wife, Kate. From the time I met Kate, she had this attitude of, I don't know why everyone is mad at your dad. He treats me well and shows me so much respect. She told me I should forgive my dad and not hold a grudge for my mum. She also told me she would get his family to stop treating him like a criminal. She never let the issue go. Over and over, she told me to let it go. We clashed over that so often, and my dad's family told her to go away with that attitude. She was like, your dad has grown, he treats me like I deserve to be treated. He learned his lesson, he's a good man with me, he has someone he loves now and wants to have a happy marriage with. This was an ongoing thing. 3 years ago, I realised my dad was cheating on Kate. He was saying he was working through infection 19, but I didn't believe that, and neither did my family. He and Kate have 3 kids together, my half-siblings, I know, but I don't care about them or see them as my family. Kate found out about the cheating 2 months ago. She fell apart. Then last month she found out we all suspected he was cheating. For a while she was trying to confide in me, and I would just walk away from her or do something else and wouldn't listen. Then on Thanksgiving, we were all together with my family, Dad's family, and she broke down even harder because nobody comforted her or stood up for her. That night she told me she thought I cared about and loved her and would be there and support her through this because she's family, she's my stepmom, she's the mum of my siblings. I called her delusional and told her if she ever felt like I cared, it's because it was what she wanted to think and not because I ever gave a shoot about her. I told her she now knew what my mum went through, only less severely, and that I guess she wasn't as special as she thought she was since he cheated on her too. She started yelling and called me a monster and told me I won't ever see her kids again if I don't be nicer. I shrugged at her yelling because it won't upset me at all. She said I should have more loyalty to her, and I had to hold myself back because I really wanted to call her delusional again. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Some people are just arrogant enough to think they're the ones to change a person, and your stepmother is no exception. Comment 2. Your dad basically unalived your mum and brother. Holy shoot. Not the idiot. I am so sorry. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. A lot has happened since then, and I figured I'd share the latest developments. After the Thanksgiving blowout, things got even more tense at home. Kate was trying to patch things up with my dad, but it was clear that their marriage was hanging by a thread. She was constantly calling and texting me, trying to get me to talk to her, but I kept ignoring her. I just couldn't bring myself to care about her problems after everything that had happened. Meanwhile, my dad's family was still giving him the cold shoulder. They were all firmly on my side, and they made it clear to Kate that they weren't interested in supporting her either. It was a mess, and I was doing my best to stay out of it. Then, about a week ago, my dad sat me down for a talk. He said he knew he'd messed up and that he was sorry for everything he'd put me and my mum through. He told me he was going to therapy and trying to be a better person. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to believe him, but another part of me was just too angry to accept his apology. A few days later, Kate showed up at my school. She was crying and begging me to talk to her. She said she had no one else to turn to and that she was sorry for everything she'd said to me. I told her I didn't want anything to do with her and walked away. That night, my dad called me. He said Kate had taken the kids and left. She'd gone to her parents' house and was planning to file for divorce. I was shocked. I hadn't expected her to actually leave him, especially not with the kids. But here's where things get really crazy. The next day, I got a call from a lawyer. It turned out that Kate had named me as the guardian of her kids in her will. She said she didn't trust my dad to take care of them and that she believed I would do a better job. I was floored. I couldn't believe she would do something like that without even talking to me about it first. I went to see her to talk about it, and she broke down. She said she knew she'd been wrong about my dad and that she was sorry for not listening to me and my family. She said she wanted to make things right and that she trusted me more than anyone else to look after her kids if something happened to her. I didn't know what to say. I was still angry at her for everything she'd put me through, but I couldn't help but feel a little bit sorry for her too. She was clearly in a lot of pain, and she was trying to do what she thought was best for her kids. I told her I needed some time to think about it. I talked to my dad's family about it, and they were just as shocked as I was. They said they would support me no matter what I decided to do. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm still not sure what to do. On one hand, I don't want anything to do with Kate or her kids, but on the other hand, I can't help but feel like it's my responsibility to take care of them if something happens to her. It's a lot to take on, especially at my age. So that's where things stand right now. I never expected to be in this position, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I'll keep you all updated as things develop. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Man, this hits close to home. My cousin went through something similar when his dad cheated. It tore their family apart, and he struggled with trust for years. It's a tough spot to be in, but holding on to that anger can eat you up inside. It's not about forgiving them for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Comment 2. Have you considered talking to a counsellor about this? It's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone at your age. It might help to have a neutral party to talk things out with. And remember, it's okay to take time to process your feelings before making any decisions about the kids. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.